This project will revolve around the country of Japan and will be implemented within the year cohort of Year 8.
This project will consist of teaching areas such as PDHPE, history, music, science and math. This project will incorporate the cross-curriculum priority area of Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia and will last 10 weeks in duration.
This project will benefit students as they will improve upon skills such as problem solving, intercultural understanding and cultural knowledge.
In relation to the context of the school, this project will be conducted at Moorebank High School. The high school consists of over 1,000 students, with 69% of these students coming from a language background other than English.
Moorebank High School has a gifted and talented program and caters to international students. The school also uses additional funding resources from programs such as Smarter Schools National Partnership to use additional staff to provide students with outstanding learning experiences. Utilising this additional funding resources will allow the school to provide students with an engaging and stimulating projects such as Understanding Japan.
Project-based learning, or PBL, is an instructional approach that has been used successfully for over 30 years and continues to gain acceptance in multiple disciplines. It is an instructional and curricular learner-centered approach that empowers learners to conduct research, integrate theory and practice, and apply knowledge and skills to develop a viable solution to a defined problem. Literature suggests that PBL is effective in improving students' self-confidence and self-esteem as it allows students to create and develop their own projects. In this project, students will integrate theory and practice, apply knowledge and skills to create a school carnival focusing on Japan and its rich culture and demonstrating what they have learnt to the school within the different KLAs.
The purpose of this project is to improve students' understanding of the countries at focus. By implementing this program throughout the various KLAs, students will be able to fully engage within the project, which in turn will improve students' knowledge and cultural understanding in regards to Japan, and thus achieve the cross-curriculum priority, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia. To the project and the different KLAs associated, this project will align with music and history as both disciplines explore Japan as one of the key focal points of this subject within Year 8. As for PDHPE, math and science, these disciplines will be explored from a Japanese perspective and how it is learned in Japan in order to gain a more worldly view of the subjects and connecting Australia's engagement to Asia. The project itself will accumulate in an end-of-year carnival, end-of-unit, for which will be organised and delivered by the students in Year 8.
Japanese culture is strongly influenced by sport and food. Japanese culture has a strong correlation and connection to sports such as sumo wrestling, martial arts and baseball. In this project, students will learn about these sports and their significance to Japanese culture. In relation to food and diet, Japan has been regarded as one of the healthiest nations in the world in regards to their diet. The diet of the Japanese people is highly recommended as it reduces the risk of chronic diseases while also hinting at lower rates of obesity and longer life expectancy than many nations. In relation to the carnival and this project, students will organise stalls that cook, create Japanese food and give information to students about the benefits of this diet. Students will also organise demonstrations of Japanese sports such as sumo wrestling and martial arts. As a safety consideration, students will not be able to participate in these sporting activities.
So to prepare the students for the project, the students will learn about the music in Japan from both a traditional and a popular perspective. They'll learn about the types of instruments and characteristics of traditional music, as well as the current popular trends and genres. This allows students to broaden their knowledge and develop a more global understanding of music and how it can affect people in their daily lives. So from here, students develop their own solo and or ensemble performance of their choice, influenced by their knowledge of traditional and popular Japanese music, and this could serve as entertainment for the day of the carnival. They develop their performance skills by doing this, as well as their abilities to organise and collaborate with each other.
As Japan is the second biggest importer of non-renewable resources, it has recently outlined a goal of decreasing its reliance on these resources for energy from its current amount of 92% down to 25% by 2030. In this project, students will first learn about how non-renewable resources are utilised within Japan, and the effect these type of resources have on the environment. Students will then investigate the different alternative energy resources that Japan is currently using or developing in order to achieve its goal of decreasing its reliance on non-renewable resources. In relation to the carnival and the project, students will be explaining and demonstrating how Japan's magnetic bullet train, along with other renewable resources currently being developed, function and assist in decreasing Japan's reliance on non-renewable resources.
Mathematical classrooms, students connect mathematical ideas using appropriate terminology. Teachers take on approach of investigation, analysis, and fun in exploring key mathematical concepts. Math lessons begin slowly and build methodically in an attempt to engage students in a challenging but exciting way. Japanese teacher place a much greater emphasis on thinking about the problem than on quickly coming with a solution. There are two key teaching principle known as Gambura, effort, and Gaman, persistence. They do it with mathematical kits containing visual aids and manipulative known as sensu seto. Mathematical lessons are completed through 4 steps: presentation of a problem, individual problem solving by students, whole class discussion about the methods, and finally summarizing from the teacher. The pedagogical terms used are Hatsumon, where teachers ask key questions that provokes students thinking; Kikanshido, where they then provide clear instructions; Niraiji, dynamic and collaborative whole class discussion; Matumi, teachers finally summarize the learnings.
The project my group and I have created concentrates on the country of Japan for a Year 8 cohort. The project highlights the different methods of teaching Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia within a 10-week duration through the following KLAs: PDHPE, History, Music, Science and Math. My personal KLA, History, consists of a core topic, the Japanese under the Shoguns. Within this subject, students will learn to examine the way of life of the shogunate and through various cultural, social, economic, and political features of Japan. Students will be able to examine the developments and experiences of different events within this time period and be able to recognize and use historical terminology. Students will use their allocated time in class to creatively construct a poster of the important events in the timeline frame and other important features to present at the carnival.
The research undertaken within this project will consist of surveys. These surveys will be completed before and after the project to gauge both the perception of teachers and students. From these findings, a report will be created which will then summarise key findings of the project and analyse areas of strength and weaknesses. These surveys will be qualitative and will give students, teachers and stakeholders within the school an effective measurement of how the project was perceived within the school. This approach to research is supported by literature from NADI 2015.
In relation to measuring the improvement of the project itself, the action research method that will be used is surveys. These surveys will consist of statements and/or questions to do with the student's knowledge and competency on a scale of 0, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree, which will be conducted twice. The first survey that was held will be at the beginning of the project, which will then be compared to the second survey, which will be conducted at the end of the project, to gain understanding of students' confidence in each discipline. From analysing these results, teachers and stakeholders will be able to see the perception of the project from the whole school sense. From this, the school can conduct a SWOT analysis and improve upon the perceived weaknesses and strengths of the project.
The purpose of this project is to improve students' understanding of the country at focus. By implementing this program throughout various KLAs, students will be able to fully engage within the project, which in turn will improve students' knowledge and cultural understanding in regard to Japan, and thus achieve cross-curriculum priorities, Asia and the Australia's engagement with Asia, ACARA.
In relation to the project and different KLAs associated, this project will align with music and history, as both disciplines explores Japan as one of the key focal points of the subject within Year 8. As for PDHPE, math and science, these disciplines could be explored from a Japanese perspective and how it is learned in Japan in order to gain more worldly view of the subjects and connecting Australia's engagement to Russia. The project itself will culminate in an end of the unit carnival, which will be organized and delivered by the students in year 8.
Our vision is to personalise learning and improve outcomes for students, teachers, and stakeholders.
Where are we now? After the project, staff have a school meeting to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the project.
Where do we want to be? To increase student motivation, participation in the carnival and school activities.
How do we get there? Teacher records observations of students' responses and participation levels.
We have arrived by comparing the responses and results of previous projects, analysing the before and after of each project.
Ongoing improvement, continuing to personalise and tailoring to students' needs.